Hey guys, Jordan at VapinUSA here. Got another little tutorial for you. We've got a Kayfun Lite. This thing is a beast. I'm just going to show you how to rebuild it, but first I'm going to disassemble it, kind of show you all the parts, and go over some things with you guys. So, let's say first of all, the benefit to say this style of tank is going to be, over dripping, of course. You don't have to drip. You're going to have a tank reservoir to hold that liquid. And with that, it just makes it way easier. So this is what I use when I drive, just because I don't like to drip and drive, so I use my Kayfun. So we've got this thing pretty much all the way disassembled here. I wouldn't say too many parts, but this is going to be your deck. Your well is all this other stuff. So we have two screws here. We got a positive and negative. We're going to trap our leads under. You see right in the center, that hole, that's where your airflow is going to come through, so it's going to blast the coil on top, so it provides very good airflow. But one thing, the channels on this thing, see how deep they are? That's where your wick's going to sit in to carry the liquid to your heating element. And then we have this random hole here. That is your fill hole. So there's a bolt on the back side, if I can show you, right there. You take that bolt out, and that's where you're going to fill it from. I'm going to go ahead and set this down. I'm going to snip off about 6 inches of wire. Generally, you're going to use a single coil on one of these. Get myself 6 inches. I'm using 26 gauge wire. I'm going to wrap this around a 1.5 millimeter screwdriver. So, what I like to do is always throw this on top of the ohm meter, just for stability wise. That going. So I have the base of the Kayfun on my ohm tester here, so I'm going to just start my wrap. I'm going to also do a 12 wrap for this. So best way I find, just like my other coils I'm going to do, I always hold tension on it so that it doesn't unravel, and you want to try to get these wraps as close together as possible. Go ahead and get that first one started. Is always the worst. Once you get it going though, very easy. There's one. Three, 4, 5, 6. Try to keep the tension on it. 7. There we are, 8. Let me grab it. Sometimes it gets a little loose. You might want to just grab a pliers and just try to snug it up as much as you can. I've got 8 wraps. 9. 10. Alright, there we are, 12 wraps. Go ahead and straighten these leads out. Now for the Kayfun, because we have 2 screws on each side like this, we need to do this coil differently. So I'm going to go ahead and back this lead off to the opposite side here and go ahead and straighten it out. And that's what you're looking for. You want the leads going out from the opposite sides like that. Now to put it on here, I find the easiest way, actually just set the coil right on that airflow hole in the center. You grab your lead and go ahead and just wrap it around that screw. And usually I use the pliers to pull it tight. Oh, cotton's coming with me. Got that one. Over to the other side. Again, wrap it around the screw. Try to get it nice and snug on there. Let's make a good connection. Okay, I've got both of those pulled nice and tight. So now what I'm going to do, just go ahead and tighten these down. You don't have to, really crank them down, just snug for right now. Alright. So what we're going to do, we're going to lift the coil up. We're going to prop it off the deck of this. Just like that. Kind of brings out some of that springiness too. So we've got it off the deck. Now we've got to heat this coil up to kind of pinch it, get those gaps out of there. So first thing, I'd say just snip that wire. Get rid of that. Go ahead and remove it from your ohm meter and throw it on top of your mod and just give it a little fire. Alright. So go ahead and just pulse it. Now you see it fires fine from the center outward, but the coil's kind of got some gaps and stuff in there, so we're going to still kind of pinch it up with our pliers and kind of clean it up. So you don't have to pinch too hard, you just gotta lightly grab this thing and just hold it together for like 10 seconds or so. That heat will really hold it together. And get another fire. Look at that, right from the middle outward, very evenly, so that's perfect. So now we can go ahead and grab our cotton and start making our wick. So I have this piece of cotton from a previous video I did. If you guys aren't sure how I got my cotton in this nice little strip like this, you can just kind of visit another video earlier down the line if I have, and it should have how I do this. So what I like to do right now, it seems kind of bunched up. I'm just going to kind of pull it apart just very lightly. You want to even this thing out. The cotton is too bunched up in some areas, it won't wick right because the area that is bunched up is going to hold the liquid in. So if you try to make it nice and even like this, it should make your wicking much nicer. Got it nice and flat. Now one thing I like to do, I'm going to kind of roll one end, and that's the end I'm going to insert through the coil. So we got that end rolled. Now what I like to do is just gently roll it on the table and get it looking like a wick, kind of, in that circular form. There we are. It's getting there. And again, kind of pulling it apart just to thin it out. Keep thinning this. And again, give it a little roll. Don't roll too tight, you just need to the cotton still needs to be puffy, but it just needs to be in the shape of a wick to, easier to put inside the tank. So I have it rolled again. I'm going to give it one last little fluff. And there we are. So I'm going to go ahead and take this pointy end. And so take your pointy end here. We're just going to start to get it going through. And again, with your wick, you don't need it packed in there super tight in your coil. You need something where, just like this, it slides easily with a little resistance. It's not pulling the cotton apart, and it's not free sliding in there. So right here is a very good area. So actually I'm going to leave it right there. And you see your canals on both sides. That's where your juice, your wicks are going to sit, and the liquid's going to soak upward to your coil. So what I find works best for me, I just kind of put a little wick in there just to see where I'm at, where I should snip it off. Just like that. And same with the other side. Gonna kind of fit it in there just to see where I have to snip it. Just like that. But I don't actually leave tail or wick in that outer, or I'd say lower portion of the deck. What I'm going to do is cut it shorter than that. And where I want it to sit is going to be right to the bottom of that portion, but not running along that. It kind of leaves it open for the juice to flow into easily. Got that side done. On to this side. Cut it right about there. Pull that fluff off, and then go ahead and put it in there. You don't have to pack it in the well or the canals too tight either. If you do, it's just going to give you burnt hits because that's going to constrict the juice from flowing through there. So I'm actually going to snip off just a hair more because I felt it was a little too long. Alright, so we've got that in the canals here, both sides. That's a good one. Now we can go ahead, I'm going to put some liquid on it, give it a test fire real quick. Got more of the Papa Smurf from VapinUSA again. And there we are, guys. Kind of make sure all of that liquid, touches that wick, because it'll definitely hold the wick together so you can get it nicely packed in those canals. Just like that. So the next thing would be, let's make sure this thing fires up. Oh yeah. Alright, so I'm pretty much ready to reassemble this thing, but one more thing I always check for. This is your chute. Surrounds the coil so the liquid doesn't flood it. So when I put this on, I'm going to also test fire it. I want to hear for the juice being vaped basically. If it makes a loud hissing sound or if anything gets really hot really quickly, it's most likely shorting out on this. So you might want to just pull it off, check all your leads, just kind of go over and you'll probably find out why it's shorting out for you. So once we have that on there, I can hear it firing, which is perfect. So we can go ahead and fill this now. So bottom ring goes on. And we've got the middle ring. And we have the top ring and the top cap. All these pieces have gaskets on them. I haven't had this thing leak on me since I bought it. They're pretty well sealed. So it's a drip tip to go on top there. And now we have to fill it. Basically, we have to fill it from the bottom. Alright, there we are. So let's just take out this screw here, the fill hole screw. Couple threads, everything's going to pop right out. Just like that. You can go ahead, needle point bottles work really well. Squeeze this thing full of liquid. Alright guys, this thing is completely full. Go ahead and Throw your screw back in there. Spin it down all the way. Nice and tight. You don't want it to leak on you. That is all snug. One thing I like to do before putting on the atomizer, I like to draw through it, see if it's bubbly, gurgly, or anything like that. Doesn't sound like it. Now there's one thing with this tank as of airflow wise. So I have my Allen wrench here. There's two holes. This is your airflow adjustment screw, and that little one there is your airflow. To open that airflow, use your Allen wrench here, and you just take out that the Allen in there, and it opens your airflow. Now I have already taken my airflow screw all the way out. I find for me that it's the best amount of airflow. So now we're going to just put this on top of our mod here and give it a vape. Nice and snug. As you can see, it vapes better than any tank you're going to pick up off the market. So, you know, if you are into rebuilding and you don't have one of these, probably something you might want to pick up just for, you know, whatever, driving around, whatever the case is. I know dripping, I drip all the time, and it just, you don't have all the time to drip. So that's why I have my RTAs.